All right, guys, let's talk about this Jussie Smollett situation, all right? Because I haven't had time all week to talk about it. This is the first time I've had to myself for an entire week. So let me sit down and share my thoughts on this whole thing. Now, all of us know by now, Jussie Smollett got found guilty of falsely reporting a hate crime, all right? I don't know if this was something that was a surprise to many people. I think from the very beginning, I knew that it was some BS. I will talk about how I knew it was some BS a little bit later, but suffice it to say, now that it has all come tumbling down, everybody is having a good old time laughing at Jussie Smollett, and as well they should. He deserves all of the ridicule that he can possibly get, and then some. All right, but for somebody like me, there's different layers to this, man, and it's not all fun. It's not all jokes. And let me explain to you why. This is the gospel according to Mark with a C. He is I, and I am he. Just taking some time to tell you exactly what's on my mind. Thank you for joining me once again, my friends. So, let's get into how I feel about this whole Jussie Smollett situation, all right? First of all, like I said, he deserves all of the ridicule that he gets. But, I got like major problems with this because I feel like the black community specifically needs to make an example out of this jackass, okay? Because what he did and what people like him do is they make a mockery out of the very real danger of hate crimes towards anybody for that matter, all right? But since Jussie Smollett feels like claiming black at this point in his life, at that point in his life, anyway, when he filed the false claim or the false report, it really does a lot of damage to the credibility. Anytime you see something like this happen, it does a lot of damage to the credibility of those of us who actually do experience, discrimination. And like I said, this is not just limited to black people. This could be anybody in the world these days. I do not subscribe to that nonsense that, black people can't be racist or that white people can't be victims of racism. Like, I know better. All right. So every claim that comes out that says that somebody has been victimized through an act of hate or racism or whatever, it's something that needs to be substantiated. It needs to be something that is real, so in order for people to be believed, every time you see a situation like this, where it turns out that it was some bullshit, it does a lot of damage, man. It's like it takes me back to the whole Emmett Till thing from years and years and years ago. It was very hard to get justice, even when something did happen, and in that case, nobody ever did pay for it. You know what I'm saying? So it's like when you have something like this in situations like this, it has to be pointed out, guys. And honestly, I am getting so tired, and I'm going to say it. I don't care who feels what kind of way about it. I'm getting so tired of biracial people writing a check for black people like me to cash. Okay, what am I talking about? Jussie Smollett is biracial. Okay, and it seems to me that it's always this type that's got the biggest fucking mouth that wants to get shit started. You know what I mean? But the last time I checked, I could be wrong. And I'm sure there are going to be people who come into the comment section to tell me that I'm wrong, if indeed I am. But the last I checked, when it comes to issues of hate crimes and police brutality towards black people, I don't usually see people who look like Jussie Smollett getting victimized. I don't usually see people like Shaun King getting victimized. I don't usually see people like Jesse Williams getting victimized. I don't usually see people like Colin Kaepernick getting victimized. It's usually people like my black ass, okay? So, when I see people like Jussie Smollett and Colin Kaepernick and Shaun King and Jesse Williams on a mountaintop yelling all of this rah-rah bullshit, and I see a bunch of black people saying, yes, yes, tell that truth, brother, tell that truth, he speaks for all of us. Bullshit. He doesn't speak for me. People like this, they don't speak for me. They're biracial. Okay, and there's nothing wrong with being biracial. They are some beautiful people. And yes, they can be discriminated against just like anybody else, like I said at the top of this video. But for all of the trumpeting and all of the posturing and all of that shit that they do, They're not black like me. They don't have the same risk that I do. When you're walking out into the world, they don't tend to fit the description of every negative stereotype in the world like I do. So, please, it's like I said on that video about Colin Kaepernick, sit down. You know what I'm saying? Because you're doing a lot of damage. Jussie Smollett lied. He lied. And now, it's like I did a video months ago called After the Woke. After the woke. People are getting tired of hearing about this. I've heard people say already, Seth fucking Rogen, you know, talking about if you don't like my movie, you must be white supremacist. You're watering down the very real concerns of people out here who are actually affected by this type of discrimination. When you keep invoking this shit in a way that is paper thin, and in this case, utter bullshit. So yes, it's fun to laugh at Jussie Smollett and his goofy ass who went on here and bullshitted his way through this whole thing. And you had Kamala Harris, another person who's pretending to be black, by the way. Kamala Harris, who everyone was cheering. Oh, you got your first black woman vice president, but she's black. She's blickety black, black, black. What has she done since she's been in office? What has she done to deserve the adoration? Besides laughing all the time. This is something that we're proud of. And she claims to be black, but she's not. And this is somebody who got Jussie Smollett's back. She's another one who went out there and tried to act like this is some movement. Everybody gather around Jussie Smollett. But I knew it was bullshit. And in the beginning of the video, I said, I'll tell you how I knew it was bullshit. Because it's just like I just got through saying, you never see people like Jussie Smollett getting run up on. Does it happen? I'm sure it might happen here or there, but for the most part, it's not a common occurrence. You never see this shit. That people like him, who look like him, who act like him, get jumped in Chicago. It's something like 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning. Get the fuck out of here. I knew from the very beginning it was some bullshit, but I just waited. I lay back in the cut and I said, watch the way this goes. I hope that I was wrong, but everything in my mind was pointing to this. Everything that I've learned up until now. And when I saw Kamala Harris jump on board and I saw, you know, some of these other people, the same people, the usual voices, the ones who need for black people to feel like they're victims, I knew that it was some bullshit. And I refuse, as I do a lot these days, I refuse to get my most emotions involved when it comes to the victimhood of black people, because I know that the media is fucking laughing at us. They're playing us out. These people might as well be fucking agents, because all they do is serve to undermine the credibility of a people who have some real concerns, children who have some real concerns, who are going to be growing up, and they need to know where they stand in this world. But these people out here, all they want you to know is that you're victims. You're never going to win. White supremacy. No, not something that I believe in. Not something that I teach in my home. And when I see people like Jussie Smollett, he is not me. That's the reason why in the beginning of these videos, I say he is I and I am he. I speak for myself. So for all of you people who get into my comment section who never saw one of my videos before, but just happen to come in here and say, I had somebody, you're what's wrong with the black community. It's you. You're the one who's holding black people back. Suck my big black dick, motherfucker. Yeah, I said it. Because in 2021, that shit is played out. Way played out. You're in losing form. It's time to think differently. People have discovered what our weakness is, and it is us, and it's people like us who practically worship people like Jussie Smollett, people like Jesse Williams, people like Sean King, people like Colin Kaepernick, people like Barack Obama. It's over, man. And this is what we need to take away from this. All right? Things like this happen. Yes, they do. It's terrible when they do happen. But when you have somebody come out who lies, or at least is unable to prove his case, but we all know this dude was full of shit. But when this happens, we have to identify it for our children. There is nothing that we stand to gain by wanting to be victims that bad, where we will actually go out of our way to fabricate, to lie. And he had so many opportunities to backtrack on that shit, but he refused to do it. You have to point that out. You have to learn from it. And you have to move on. And you have to never, ever make that mistake again. But like I said, most important of all, you have to point the shit out. And that's what this video is. It's pointing it out. Jussie Smollett, you are a traitor to the very people that you claim to be so proud of. You're a traitor. And I'm identifying you as such in this video, even if I'm the only one. All right, guys, you can get in the comment section and let me know how you feel about this. As always, you can like, you can share, you can subscribe. You can catch me on Odyssey. You can catch me on Twitter. Thank you for listening. I'll see you on the next one. This is The Gospel According to Mark with a C. Rock on.